Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Tabitha and I'm the maker and creator behind Safari Stitches. And today's video is actually going to be a tutorial on how I embroider my detailed eyes for my plushies. Okay, so this is what I am talking about. I do embroidered eyes on all of my snugglers. I do not use safety eyes. And I use them on some of my plushies as well, just to make sure I have some items that are safe for the little kiddos. This was a skill that I wanted to make sure that I had so that I could add embroidered eyes to items if I want to. And I actually have one today that I need to get eyes put on so I can get it shipped out. It's a custom order for a friend of mine, and I'm gonna get that ready to go today. So with that said, I'm gonna flip you guys around and get you set up, and I'm gonna show you exactly how I do my embroidered eyes. Okay, hopefully this angle is gonna work, but this is the plushie in question. I need to put embroidered eyes on this guy here. So these are the supplies that I use. This is a bent tapestry needle. Makes it a lot easier, trust me. A pair of scissors, and I generally exclusively use cotton yarn to put my embroidered eyes on, but feel free to use whatever weight yarn you're comfortable with using. But I exclusively use cotton, and I use black and white to add the little white shiny details. And then this is the biggest tip that I have, is something to mark where you want your eyes to go. And I use, these are just like sewing pins. Obviously be very careful if you use something sharp, because this is very pointy, but I have found that marking where I want to put things is so important to get everything where you want it, because that way you're not like putting the eyes on and then you realize they're crooked and you have to undo it all. That is the worst feeling in the entire world. So anyways, to get started, I take my pins and I mark the top and the bottom of these stitches. Now I do try to put it on the same round, but if you work in a spiral, so like for example, this is round 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 is probably where I would probably put the eyes right there. So like over 12 and 11 to make them a reasonable size to fit the plushie. However, when you work in a spiral, that's not always going to be even. So you may have to do like over 12 and 11 on one side, and then maybe go in the middle of 12 and in the middle of 13 to make it even, because everything shifts ever so slightly when you're working in the round versus slip stitching and joining at the end of each round. Hopefully that makes sense. So basically I grab my pins. I'm trying to do this without getting stabbed. Here we go. So I've got 4 pins, and I'm going to be at a slight angle compared to where you guys are, just because I need to be able to see what I'm doing. And I mark the bottom first to make sure that they are level across the face. So I'm going to put the bottom of the first eye about there on that side, and so it does take a little bit of kind of repositioning to make sure that you are in the middle and you're even, because this is one of those situations where it's probably not going to go on the same row. And I'm trying to make sure I'm in the middle. Okay. I don't know if it's going to come across very well on camera, but these are in, nope, these are not level. Let me hold this up in front of me, hold on. It's very difficult to do things at an angle. Okay, that's much better. So that is where the bottom of my eyes are gonna go, I'm pretty sure. That could adjust slightly. They look crooked on camera, but it's the curve of the nose really throws this pattern off. This may not have been the best plushie to use this example on, but we're gonna go with it. So I've got the bottom of the eyes placed, and now I want to place the top. So I'm going to, there's the middle of a stitch right there. And I usually try to do, so this one, I went diagonal across one row, but I went over 1, 2, and I'm in the middle of that third stitch. So we're gonna go diagonal, and we're gonna go, this is in the middle, so we're gonna go 1, 2, and it's probably gonna be about there. And then I hold it up in front of me, and those are not stacked on top of each other. So I'm actually gonna move this over ever so slightly. I'm trying to decide if that looks okay. So like I said, it's gonna take a little bit of kind of finagling, but that's why I love using pins to help lay out where I want them, because this way I'm not embroidering the eye and then starting on the second one and realizing that they're crooked and having to like frog my work and redo it. This just makes it a lot easier to do it one time, get it right the first time. So I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna play around with this a little bit and get this level, and I will show you guys when I'm done. Okay, I think I've got them where I want them. So the red and the white are going to be the top and the yellow is the bottom. So this is where I will start embroidering. And you start with the black. You're going to need, I do one eye at a time, and I do not cut my yarn. I just kind of use it off of the skein, but you're going to thread your black, and essentially I go in from somewhere else on the plushie, and I come out where the top marker is. So I'm gonna move that ever so slightly so I can get my tapestry needle in there, and I'm gonna pull that through, and at this point I can take the pin out because now I'm where I want to be. And you want a decent amount of the black yarn, because basically what you're going to do is you're going to repeat going from the top to bottom over and over and over again to either side to start filling in your pupil. So from here I'm going to go in to the spot where I have the bottom pin. We're going to take that out, get it out of the way, and then we're going to push. This is why the bent tapestry needle is my favorite tool to use for doing eyes, because it's really easy to get the tapestry needle back out of the plushie. So we're going to come out where we went in at the top, pull that all the way through, and then at that point I'm going to look and make sure that it is mostly vertical, which it is. And then you're just going to repeat that process and essentially put your yarn on either side of that center to start giving it a little bit of a little bit of a round shape. Let me grab some water really quick. Hold on. So, like I said, go in to the point where your the bottom of the eye is, and come back out at the top. And I kind of try to let the yarn go where it naturally goes, but you don't want it to like cross over the center. So this is naturally wanting to go to the left side. So I hold the yarn in place and pull it all the way through until it has about the same tension as the first. So now I've got 2 stitches on there, and I'm just going to repeat that process over and over until the eye is filled out. So again, I go in the bottom and out the top, and I'm going to try this time because it's naturally wanting to go to the left side. So I'm going to try and force my needle to pull the yarn out on this side so I can also start filling out the right hand side as well. And this is just kind of it is a trial and error, because I still, to this day, do embroidered eyes that I don't love, and I have frogged them and redone them, and it can be quite a pain, but sometimes it doesn't come out perfect every single time. So again, I'm going to try and pull my yarn out on the right hand side to help start, and every so often I put my needle under all of the strands and kind of just fluff them up a bit just to make sure that they maintain an even tension. So I'm going to go back to the right hand side again, and we're going to slowly start to fill this out. And these embroidered eyes are very much so a trust the process, because they do look a little crazy when you're first starting it, but the more you fill them out, there you go, the more natural they look. All right, I think I'm gonna do one more pass, because I think that's gonna be as full as I would like them to be on this guy. So when you're on your last pass, instead of coming out the top, you're going to pick a point to the right or the left, whichever eye you decided to start on. Not crazy far, and this, again, if you're doing eyelashes, it's probably going to look a little bit different, but if you're just doing the general eyelid, you want to be almost immediately next to the eye. I've tested out different looks. If you want more of an eyelash-ish look, go a little bit further, but for this one I'm going to be a little bit closer, so I'm probably going to come out about right there. So again, insert insert the needle and come out. See, that's going to be a little bit too close actually, I think. So I'm going to shoot for right here. And you're going to pull that tight, not too tight. And I like to run my needle under one more time just to make sure everything has the same tension. And then I take the black out and just leave the tail sitting off to the side. You're going to need it again in a minute. So now I'm going to grab the white. And I'm not going to need quite as much for this one, but go ahead and thread the white through your needle. And we're going to start in a similar fashion. So for this one, we're going to come out the top, go into the bottom, and out the top again. I'm going to come in from the bottom, like I said, and pop out the top and pull out to the right hand side of the eye. And then we're going to go in the bottom and back out the top in the center. Just make sure you're pulling out of the top in the center of the black, and make sure when you're pulling this tight that you don't have any of your yarn caught in there, but you don't want to pull it so tight that the white just disappears. So I try to keep the same tension across the black and the white strands. And then when I come out the top, you're going to create the little white sparkle at the top of his eyes. So you're going to insert your hook about a third of the way down the black pupil and then come out where you entered. So for this guy, I'm going to go in about there, and you might have to work the needle a little bit to make it go in, and then very carefully, there we go, just be careful so you don't like split the pupil too much as you're working your needle in there. And then you're going to come out where your yarn went in. And again, don't pull too tight because you want to be able to see the white and you don't want to separate the black pupil too much. So I like to give both tails just a tiny tug to make sure that they are snug against where I did that. And then at this point you can go ahead and just clip off the white yarn just to have less things hanging off. You can, my battery just very inconveniently died. Anyways, so this is what it's gonna look like. I did go ahead and snip off the black, the skein. The tail is still long and attached. I've left that alone, but I wanted to give you guys a look at how the white is. So like I said, I just give both tails just a very, very slight tug so that they are flat against the face. And then the white can be knotted off. And it's okay to pull it a little bit tight because if you do, whoopsies, sorry, I just knocked you. And then I snip and tuck the tails. Let me get that hidden. And then what I do is I'll come back up here and just run my needle up underneath to make sure you can still see everything on the eye. And then we're going to finish off here in a second. So now we're going to rethread our needle with the tail of the black yarn that you left behind earlier. And for this step, what you want to do is you're creating essentially an eyelid to kind of hide this entry point into the head. So I like to pick a point that is ever so slightly to the other side. And you can be like close to the eye down here if you want. I'm gonna try, I like to be as close to the eye as possible without being on top of it. So, and again, this is gonna be trial and error. It's just gonna depend on how you want your embroidered eye to look. So I'm gonna try this really quick, but I'm just gonna come out in an arbitrary spot just to see. So I do not like the look of that, so I'm actually going to very carefully pull the tail back through. And I'm gonna get a little bit closer to the eye itself. And I am gonna go in about there, and I think this one's gonna be fine. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the tail through to where I originally went into the eye. And this one, I'm not totally, it's going to take a little bit of finagling to make it look how you want. See, that's still not quite how I was hoping for it to look. So like I said again, it is going to entirely depend on how you want your eye to look when you're finished. So I think this time what I was saying was, like I said, it's going to take trial and error. I do this differently for almost every plushie, but the concept is obviously the same. So for this one, I'm actually going to try to pull the yarn through directly to the right, or I guess in this case, the left of the eye sparkle at the top. And we're going to pull the tail through. And I think I'm okay with that. I'm happy with how that looks. It's just like a really subtle detail. Yeah, I'm good with that. Really, it's just to like help hide where you have entered into the eye, or into the body rather. I'm happy with that, so I am going to go ahead and tie off. Now the trick is getting the eyes to match on both sides, but just take your time. And pull the yarn back through, but that is generally how I do my embroidered eyes. So I actually really like the embroidered eyes on this guy. I'm not gonna lie. But see what I mean by like trust the process, because like when it's just the black people, it's kind of like, wow, this is looking really bizarre. But I love the way these embroidered eyes look, and they're obviously baby safe. You don't have to worry about choking hazards, and yeah, that is how I do my embroidered eyes. And obviously I just repeat the process on the other side, but that is what it looks like. Okay, y'all, I really hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or would like me to go into more detail about any of those steps, please let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to make another video. Hopefully I didn't go too quickly. If you need to watch it again or watch another eye being made, obviously you can rewind this video and rewatch. But if you would like me to do a full video from start to finish of me embroidering a pair of eyes, both of them, instead of just showing you one and showing you the method behind it, I'd be happy to do that. Again, just let me know in the comments. If you liked this video, please hit the subscribe button, like the video so I know to make more content like this, and if you have anything else you would like a tutorial on, please also drop that in the comments, because I'm always looking for ideas of what people are looking to see or what people need help on. I'm planning on doing a like a beginner crochet tutorial series of some of the crochet basics and teaching you how to do basic stitches. So if you don't crochet and you would like to learn, hopefully I can be a resource for you. With all of that said, I hope you enjoyed, I hope it was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!